we waiting, Mr. City Manager?
I think you might just for a moment because it looks like she's trying to connect. So Sian is working with her.
Yeah, wait a minute. Can. Okay, everybody, welcome to the regular City Council meeting of January 11th, 2021. Tonight, we're going to have the roll call, please, first.
Nixon?
Here.
Salvia?
Here.
Albrecht?
Here.
Navakwa?
Here.
Harrison?
Here.
Peterson?
Here.
Sage?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to have Councilmember Albrecht lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I just want to welcome everybody to a new year. Happy New Year to everybody. And we are all looking forward to a hopefully much better 2021. And first, we have a new employee to welcome. We have Natalie Allen, who is going to be our new PR specialist. And she's just joined us this week. So first of all, welcome, Natalie. If you'd like to say a brief hello, give us a little background, maybe. You go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I come from the Port Huron side of the state. I spent 4 years with the city of Port Huron as PDA director and some time with the Parks and Rec department. So I'm really excited to kind of take on this new challenge. I'm really looking forward to working with everyone and becoming part of the team at Rochester.
Great. So welcome to our city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next, we have public comment, scheduled, non-scheduled. Siona, do we have any call?
We have not received anything.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so first we have a request for recognition of the Friends of the Rochester Library as an official nonprofit and to consider the request for a resolution for a charitable gaming license. Mr. Kroger or Mr. Megan, do you want to say something?
Yeah, Bill is our vice president, but he's been handling all the details around this raffle. So I'll let Bill go through the details.
Okay, thanks. Welcome.
You're muted, Bill.
Bill, you got mute. There you go.
We've made application to the state for a gaming license, which they have granted, and they've asked that we submit a resolution on their form, which I've forwarded to Mr. Wing, and that resolution would say that the government of the city of Rochester recognizes that we are a 501c3 organization. There's a great deal of other paperwork that went along with that application and with the request that I sent to Mr. Wing. It would show you that we are a corporation registered as a nonprofit. All of our funds are to be dedicated to the Rochester Hills Public Library, which is situated in the city of Rochester. We have the appropriate documentation from the IRS that's been submitted. We've submitted the most recent Form 990 that the organization has filed with the Internal Revenue Service, showing basically that whatever monies we collect are distributed to the Rochester Hills Public Library, that the members of our board are not compensated, that there are no employees of Friends of the Rochester Hills Library. I might comment that the Friends organization provides something in the area of 300 to 400 volunteers who work at the library every month of the year. This lottery is an idea that we've come up with to attempt to replace some of the income we've lost as a result of the COVID-19 epidemic. We were forced to cancel our holiday home tour for 2020. We canceled much earlier in the year. Wine, Wit, and Wisdom together, those two events generate in the neighborhood of $30,000 of benefit to the Friends. We've also had to cancel 3 of our 4 annual quarterly book sales. And as we move into 2021, I don't believe we're in a position to have one of those sales yet. Those sales generate something between $20,000 and $30,000 each quarter in funds that go to eventually go to support the library. Our bylaws require us to distribute 80% of our fund balance as of May of each year to the library in October of the subsequent year. So whatever funds we raise out of this raffle will ultimately go to benefit the Rochester Hills Public Library.
Very good. Mr. City Manager, did you want to comment on this at all?
Other than just to share, I've been gathering the information that's been given from the Friends, and I've been passing it along also to our clerk and to our city attorney. Everything seems to be in compliance. So just to note that we've reviewed all the information that's been shared and that's in tonight's packet. Everything looks good.
Very good. Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Kroger, thank you. Thank you much. And Mr. Meacham, thank you. Or Megan, thank you as well. So I think your intention is to run this raffle through the end of March. Is that correct? Or almost the end of March, March 20th?
The drawing will occur on March 20th at the library's multipurpose room. There will be one winner who will receive 40% of the funds that have been collected.
So do we think we can sell 500 tickets so that you can reach that 30,000 threshold that you normally see on an annual basis? Or
I'd love to think that we could. At the present time, we're a little bit shy at $10,000.
Okay. Thank you.
And I might add that this, the raffle that we're doing on March the 20th is approved by the state. The issue that we're talking about here is getting the authorization from the city so that in the future we can continue to perform raffles.
Very good. Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Kroger and Mr. Megan, for coming today. If you're not familiar, the Rochester Hills Public Library is consistently ranked in the top 10 in our state. I think that it's the Friends group that make it such a vibrant place to be and aid to our downtown. And I know that their efforts through their volunteerism actually doubles the workforce of the library. So I think the library has 130 employees, part-time and full, and it's doubled because of the volunteers that we have. So I don't think that that's replicated anywhere else. So I feel really proud as a former employee of the Rochester Hills Public Library of our Friends group. And I would like to make a motion to recognize the Friends as a nonprofit and to provide them a resolution for their gaming license.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Harrison
Support on the motion.
Support by Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. Mayor Pro Tem, you had a comment.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. So this would be a license that's good for one time, or is it a period of time?
This is a license that would allow us to conduct the raffle on March 20th. Should we desire to conduct additional raffles, we would have to make another application to the state. However, because we've already filed all of the documentation, it would be a pretty much pro forma application.
City Clerk O'Connor.
Yes, Your Honor. And before council tonight is the resolution recognizing them as a charitable group in the city. And that doesn't necessarily tie to any one permit that they would get. It would, each time they come each time they would get a permit, they would not have to keep coming back to city council for a resolution. You're going to recognize them one time based on all their paperwork, and then they will continue to work with the state directly for their permits going forward.
Very good. Thank you. Further discussion.
Mayor.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, thank you. So, do the other, because it's an interlocal agreement, do we need the other parties to agree, Oakland Township and Rochester Hills?
Mr. Kroger.
The state just requires us to submit this form from a governmental unit that is responsible where we operate. Because our name is the Rochester Hills Public Library, we thought at first it was Rochester Hills. But apparently the legal people tell us that that's not the case.
Yeah.
We're located at 500 Old Town Road in the city of Rochester. Your organization is the one that is controlling.
Good. Well, we like to think it's our library anyway, right?
It is your
There
library.
you go. City Clerk O'Connor.
What Mr. Kroger said is correct. It's based on the municipality that the building is located in, or the entity is located in.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Further comments? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes,
Sage.
Yes.
Thank you, and good luck with your raffle, you guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kroger. Thank you. Next is approval of the minutes. Is consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting of December 21st, 2020. Councilmember Albrecht.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Motion by Councilmember Albrecht.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Sage. Discussion. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
yes,
Sage.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is approval of the consent agenda as request to update and correct the City Council regular meeting calendar for 2021. And next is consideration approval of the Master Plan Steering Committee as presented.
so moved.
Motion by Councilmember Peterson. There's
Support.
support by the Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Albrecht. Discussion.
I'd like to remove item A from the consent agenda for discussion.
Okay. So, Councilmember Sage.
I'd like to correct item B with one name, spelling change. I don't know if I need to remove it, but whether that can, procedurally I can do that without removing it from the consent.
I think so, Your Honor.
So Linda Gamage,
Mhm.
as the resident from the east side, it's Gamage.
So so then we'll just consider B for this motion. I'd just like to say for this master plan steering committee. She said the consultants wanted this group with this large, and they were the ones who recommended, how the setup of it and have it be so large. I want to thank the city manager. Mostly he and I got this group together, and we had great support in the community, people wanting to serve on this. It's only going to meet a couple times. It's just a steering committee. And of course, all decisions on the master plan will come back to the city council for final decisions. And I think the consultants will talk to everybody individually on the council as well. So is there further comment on that issue?
One, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember
So
Peterson.
Yes, thank you. Just curious, will we be updated along the way, or are you going to wait to give a presentation after you meet?
Mr. City Manager, I don't know if we've gotten that far yet.
I don't think we have.
I know you
Maybe
haven't gotten
Sienna might
there
be able to.
yet. Right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Manager. What do you?
Sienna probably, she's been actually our day-to-day contact with
Okay.
Beckett and Rader, so maybe Sienna can answer.
So the consultants basically wanted to get the first meeting done to see how they would proceed going forward as far as the meetings go. So after the first point of contact, once I give them this list tomorrow, then they'll contact everybody and they will let us know how they feel like we should proceed as far as updates and notes from each meeting.
Right, and I think one thing in talking with these consultants is they know that they need to keep us informed throughout the whole process.
Certainly.
So we'll consider agenda item B.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you saw my note. I was able to finally get confirmation on the HOA. That was Rich Kenzik was the name. So I didn't want to put his name on until I actually got confirmation, which I did on Saturday.
Very good, thank you. And I think there's still a couple more we're trying to track down, but we've done a pretty good job. And we even got Dave Zemmons to be part of this. That wasn't easy. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Thank you. And now the request to update and correct the city council regular meeting calendar for 2021. Councilmember Albrecht.
I know this is the third iteration of this calendar that we've looked at, but normally the calendar reflects November 22nd, which is a Monday, as November 23rd. And I'm hoping that 2021 allows us to have Lanyap on November 22nd. So my call out is that the calendar should reflect, in respect to the scheduling of administration and my fellow council members, that the November 22nd meeting be scheduled for November 23rd, Tuesday, and that Lanyap would be on November 22nd. Hoping that everything is back to normal by then.
City Manager, are you good with that?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. Any other comments? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Is there a motion and a support?
I make a motion to approve the Rochester City Council regular meeting schedule for 2021 with the change of the November 22nd meeting to November 23rd, which is a Tuesday.
Thank you.
Motion by Councilmember Albrecht.
Support.
Councilmember Peterson.
I believe so.
Support by Councilmember Peterson. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht. Uh-oh. That
I said,
Albrecht,
I said yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson. Ann?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry for the echo. I was trying to get off of the phone.
Okay. And your vote's yes?
Yes.
And Sage?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, there is no old business or table business. There's not a public hearing. There is a public hearing we're going to request to set a public hearing for the Riverfront Place special project for February 8th, 2021. So we've met in talking with the city manager. We've met with the developer. and they can come in that day. That gives, we believe, everybody a month to reach out to neighbors, to residents, to weigh the agreement that everybody got a draft of. The city manager is going to send out, I think, at the next manager's report, some bullet points and like an executive summary of that document. I've asked him to do that. And, everybody's going to have a chance to ask questions and hopefully be prepared to have a thorough discussion of that project on the February 8th meeting. So before us today is a request to set the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Peterson,
Support to set the public hearing for Riverfront Place Special Project on February 8th, 2021.
so support by the Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. Is there further discussion on this subject? Councilmember Albrecht.
Thank you, Mayor, for asking City Manager Wing to put together the executive summary and bullet points. I would request that additional, as much information as can be provided, like an overview map of the development, where it's going to be. And I know that's in some of the Planning Commission notes that I had pulled up a couple months ago, but it might be helpful to all of us to be able to see that. And I'm hoping that we can communicate as much as we can to the public before the hearing, because I am expecting there'll be a lot of discussion at the February 8th meeting.
And I feel pretty good that we are giving everybody a month's notice, so everybody is aware. We are going to reach out a lot of the residents who sent us correspondence. We're going to reach out to them to let them know the meeting is coming. And I urge all council people, if you have questions, to reach out to the city manager, and the city manager can hopefully get you back responses. And so I'm hoping that, we have all our questions answers. We'll hear our presentation, we'll hear our residents, and then we'll be able to have a good discussion on the issue that is coming before us as a council. Any further comments? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dixon,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Thank you. And also the goal is to have as few other items on the agenda that night as possible. So there's no legislative deliberation, reports and regular business. A request to purchase 25 WatchGuard body-worn cameras and supporting equipment. Total project cost not to exceed $70,000 under the State of Michigan Competitive Purchasing Program. Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, and then I'll be asking police chief to jump in. So the city for the last number of years, and city council probably has recalled this during goals and objectives, that staff has been investigating the kind of body worn cameras. And with our last update to purchase of our squad cars, the cameras, we got a system that would be compatible. So chief, if you want to explain these specific 25 body-worn cameras and your request.
Yes, as the manager indicated, we've kind of been preparing for this request back when we initially upgraded our in-car camera system, with the idea of once we became comfortable with not only the technology but experience with other agencies and gaining acceptance among our officers, with the idea of the body-worn cameras, that we feel all of that has come together now, and we're prepared to make this request to enter into a body-worn or body camera program here in the police department. We've been very, very satisfied with the WatchGuard product. It's been very beneficial, and it's certainly an essential part of our police work every day, to be able to record these interactions through the in-car camera system. The body-worn camera then becomes an enhancement to that, and certainly it's important for us to improve that transparency within the department, and also the collection of evidence is also enhanced by including body cameras on the officers. So the body camera actually would replace the microphone or transmitter that the officers currently carry. And so in addition to the audio that we have always been recording, we'd be able to have the video, which is also then collected onto the server and is able to be produced alongside. One of the benefits of going with WatchGuard is that we're able to kind of marry all of those items together, both our in-car and body-worn cameras, into one server and one product, and be able to produce those videos for courtroom testimony or for any questions that should come up as far as officer conduct to have that information available. This would allow us to have one body-worn camera for each officer. So in the cases of special events or things of that nature, everyone would have a body camera in addition to, whereas now we don't have that type of capability. We only have the cameras and the transmitters when their officers are equipped with a patrol car.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, discussion? Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Chief. I think that this is a great idea to add body cameras. It brings accountability and an added level of safety for our police officers. So I think it's a good move. I'm wondering, I think that body cameras really only work if they're turned on. Will officers be required to have them on at all times or when they're on duty? Will there be rules around when they're on and off?
Yes, just as there is now, they're required to be on during citizen interactions. And that's one of the benefits to this system is that they kind of marry together between the in-car camera so that if a event is started, which in our case, indicating turning on the overhead lights, reaching a certain speed, things, or if they manually activate that recording, it will activate both the in-car as well as the body camera to operate.
Further questions? Councilmember Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase.
Motion by Councilmember Peterson.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Harrison. Discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please. Councilmember Bavacqua.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did just have a question regarding budget. I know that there's a surplus, and we're going to try to use some of that in subsequent years or next year to supplement the budget. Does this eat into or jeopardize our opportunity to do that?
It doesn't, and Chief can explain. This is coming out of our revolving equipment fund. Chief, if you want to get into the details.
Yes, so this does, as a manager indicated, come out of revolving equipment. So that's a fund that's budgeted almost separate from the remainder of the budget. We've certainly checked with the finance department to make sure that there isn't going to be a undue burden both on the budget in its entirety as well as the revolving equipment fund to be able to afford this purchase today.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dixon,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Thank you. Next is a request to purchase two 2021 Ford Explorer police vehicles for a cost not to exceed $68,138 under the State of Michigan Competitive Bid Program or other programs. Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, again, I'll just start it off. The police department has done the heavy lifting on this. You'll see there's the photos and the checklists, and the Public Works Department has evaluated. One of the two is actually due to a crash with a deer, and that vehicle was totaled out, and we're getting the insurance money, and the other one, it's through its normal cycle. The reason why it doesn't just say the State of Michigan competitive bid program is we're also investigating the enterprise fleet agreement, and it potentially looks like that one might save us, let's just say it's $700, maybe $750. And so it would be for the same vehicles, but if we can save even the 700 and some dollars, that's what we're tonight asking the authority not to exceed. So this one would be the highest cost. And if we can get those two vehicles cheaper, we, again, through this approval from council, we would be able to purchase it through another program like the agreement that we have. Chief, if you maybe want to explain a little bit more, expound on that.
Yes, these are two vehicles that have been identified through the goals and objectives process for replacement this year. Each year when we have vehicles that are up for replacement, we select those based on the mileage need and condition. Obviously, one of them is totaled out, so that raises it up to the top of the list. And the other vehicle is a 2013 vehicle. So it's a long and useful life as due for replacement this year.
Councilmember Albrecht.
I noticed on the requested action that the two vehicles will cost $34,069. The total cost would be $68,138 that we're voting on. But I read in the analysis that we received from the insurance company $14,920. So wouldn't the amount we approved be the $68,138 less the $14,920? I mean, I approve this. I support this request, but I don't want to approve overpaying if we're getting money back from the insurance company.
I think the problem is with the accounting of that. We're going to expend this amount of money. Offsetting that is an income or a revenue that came in through the insurance. So to be, I guess, to use the word transparent again, we will be sending a check for this amount of money to purchase those vehicles, offset by the revenue that we receive from the insurance.
So the net effect to the city will be 68,000 less the approximately 15,000.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
We can't.
I'd make a motion.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
If I could also note too, eventually we'll be selling off the 2013 vehicle, and those proceeds will actually go back into the revolving equipment fund where the vehicles are. It's vehicles and equipment is where they're purchased to. So if we get another $6,000 or $8,000 or whatever $1,000, that will also help to offset the costs.
With that, thank you, City Manager Wing, and thank you, Chief. I would make a motion to approve the purchase of the two Ford Explorers as noted in the email that we received.
Motion by Councilmember Albrecht,
Support.
support by Councilmember Peterson. Councilmember Bavacqua.
Yeah, just a question for, I guess, City Manager. You did say that if we were to look at using Enterprise to purchase these vehicles, that they would be the exact same vehicles, right? It's an apples to apples comparison.
Correct. And actually, I think the chiefs, we've been working with Enterprise, and I believe the vehicles that were identified are actually the same vehicles at the same dealership. So it literally could be the exact same apple to apple, if you will.
Okay, excellent. Well, good. I'm glad you guys are doing your due diligence on that and saving us some money.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia.
Yeah, just a quick question. I noticed we're replacing two sedans with two SUV vehicles. Is this, I'll say, a coincidence, or is it we're moving more towards just having SUVs, or is there a desire to have a what I'll call a product mix within the force, or kind of what was the thought behind that?
Well, the Taurus and Caprice are no longer available, so there really isn't a replacement that could be apples to apples. Really, the only two vehicles that are on the market would be Tahoe, the Ford Explorer, or the Dodge Charger. And so we have a couple of Dodge Chargers, and so we went with the Explorers in this case rather than the more expensive Tahoe.
Good.
Very good. It's always nice to get a new car, right?
Yes.
Or fun to get a nice car. I don't know. Further discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Nixon,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you, Chief. Next, item number C, we are going to remove tonight. The city has some more things they need to check on, and instead of approving something that then we have to go back and unapprove and change, the administration has asked to remove that item tonight. So we'll bring it to the agenda next meeting.
Thank you.
Next is receive a report from the various boards and commissions. First is a report from the Planning Commission, Councilmember Bavacqua.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a few items at Planning Commission. First one was we approved a site plan for the Chief Financial Credit Union in the existing U.S. Scuba Center building. And second was there's a facade renovation, as you may have noticed, going on at Gateway Center on Rochester as you head into the city from the south. And they've come into a bit of a snafu with the rock walls that cap the north and south side of the structure. They need to be removed, and they're not structurally sound. So they came back to Planning Commission to get some sense of what our inclination at Planning Commission would be to have them replace that material with. So it didn't go quite as well as they would like, I guess. There were some concerns over the materials, and I think they're going to go back to the drawing board on that. And they may be making some changes to the awnings that were previously approved by Planning Commission. So that one is still a work in progress, and unfortunately for them, it's while they're full on in construction. So I wish them luck. And then the last thing we did was approve a special exception for general office space in a non-conforming building at 411 Woodward, and that was approved. And that's it.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia.
Yes, hey, Councilmember Bavacqua, with that Gateway building, the front facade, which is, I'll say, historic because they took the front off, is that going to remain the, I'll call it, historic look that won't be covered back up?
Yeah, that is something that they agreed to do, that they haven't moved from that decision, as far as I know. There will be kind of like a backing, and there's an element above the brick that they're going to be putting some signage on. And then there was the awnings that they were putting on. So, but they're leaving that facade as is.
Good. It looks cool to see it. I love it.
Yeah.
Mayor, I think just to make sure we get it right, I think, Dean, didn't we set a public hearing for 411 Woodward?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I just want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, that was to set a public hearing.
Yes.
I appreciate
Okay,
it.
that's what I thought. Okay, great. Thanks.
Good. Any questions? Okay. Next on to new business for referral and miscellaneous. Siona, is there any public comment tonight?
There is not.
Okay. Next we have the receipt of the check register reports, and on to the city manager update. Mr. City Manager.
Yep. So let me pull my notes up here. The check register report. We had 2 check registers for December 22nd and December 29th. And then for my updates, 3 that I want to hit on. First one is in regards to the COVID vaccine availability. I do have a fairly, there's a good paragraph that's in the packet on page 124. I don't want to read through all of it. However, Oakland County, the health department is actually overseeing the distributions of vaccines. And I've even posted some information directly on the front page of the city's website today, actually providing the direct link to the county's vaccine, what they're calling hub, that provides information about appointments, about the vaccines, when they get them in, how the state, when it's coming from the federal government to the state to them, the different groups, all that information is currently within that county web portal, if you will. As of right now, the county received only so many vaccines. They have issued so many doses at this point, and they have scheduled the appointments for the remaining doses that they have of the vaccines through the month of January. We, are hopeful that they will receive additional doses, and as soon as we have that information, we'll continue to update both council as well as the public through our website and through our other media channels to let people know how they could do it. I've received a few calls even from our residents to explain that, the group is looking at our site, which currently is the one at the fire station, as well as the OPC has been talked about as well. And additional sites throughout Oakland County have been noted. As soon as we have additional information about, how to proceed with either what site, which group, we will coordinate that again through our website and then our other social media and with the press. So I see one or two hands already, so there might be some questions before I move on to the other items. So
Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And City Manager Wing. So I think the governor put in a request today for another additional 100,000 vaccines. So is there a plan on how those will be distributed, or is it premature here to understand the timing and the distribution plan?
Yeah, so I think the first one was around the same amount, and Oakland County, I believe, got between 5,000 and 6,000. That one, I don't know how the actual distributions were allocated by percentages last time, so there might be a different formula. But as soon as the state, the fire chief actually is our regional coordinator, so he's on some of those meetings. So we'll hear when the state actually gets them. Currently, there's the Pfizer and then the Moderna. If the Johnson & Johnson and a few of the other ones do come online, there could also be still vaccines added into our overall total mix during the month of January. And then potentially, I've been hearing too, instead of just waiting to give the second dose out, there's been discussion using that second dose as the first dose for individuals, and then as the additional dosage come in, that they'll use, the 21 days or the 28 days, that second dose. So they might speed and ramp things up. The county, though, has gone from kind of a 1 day kind of per week to a 6 day. So all of the sites that are currently in the mix are pretty much going 6 out of the 7 days throughout the week. So they are ramping up. And then throughout the state, there are going to be, I'll call them some mega sites.
Our location is running 6 days a week now?
Our site has not been running 6 days, but the ones, I think there was 7 or 8 altogether at the time that the county did. So they, before they had them just a few days, it was like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but now they're running 6 days out of the 7 day week.
Councilmember Albrecht.
City Manager Wing. I know I saw a picture of the fire chief getting his vaccination, and during our budgeting meeting, our finance director was getting his. What's the status of our first responders, the police force, the fire department, DPW? Are they all moving along at the same pace, or how's that going?
Yeah, so and I'll let the chief talk about the police force, but since he's on the fire department, first it was our paramedics and our EMTs were the first portion of our force, and throughout then the rest of the department, and the next kind of tier was over to the police department. And chief, I'll let you share.
We have 17 members that have obtained a vaccination, and frankly, that. Better than it had anticipated when we surveyed our people. So we've had some folks that initially indicated they were not going to take it and decided to take it. So we're pleased with that. So we still have a few more, but I think that's a very good number. Most first responders are in the 50% range, so we're well ahead of that in our department. We're very happy with it.
And DPW?
DPW has not yet. Again, as we go through the groups, first is our first responders, which the state has determined is the fire, the paramedics, and EMTs, and then onto police as we kind of work through. Again, on the staff side of things, we have throughout the city actually made a request to our employees to see if if the vaccine was made available, if they would want to get the vaccine. So our HR department and then the various departments have that information. So when they do become available, we'll be able to text out and email and communicate with our employees to get everybody who would like a vaccine vaccinated.
Good, thank you.
All right. If there's not other questions, I'll move on to the other two topics. The next one was our community survey. So to give an update, in the last couple of years, so before I started, we were doing the surveys more on a kind of a 7 to 8 year kind of cycle. When I got here, I felt that getting the information sooner, so more on the 3 to 4 years. So now that we've concluded 2020, we're actually getting into the 4th year, but we're pretty close to the 3rd year still. But the survey is now at the printer and should be then going to the post office here shortly. And then we will be, soon as we know that it's out, we'll have it up on our website. The community survey has a code, so it's going to each household. So that's again, similar to what we did, or I guess the same as what we did last time, but our previous surveys only did a sampling of our community. We actually, with our last survey and with this one, it's actually going to every household. So there's a code that will be, it's printed on the actual information, the survey, and our residents will be able to fill it out online. Immediately with that code, or they could fill out the paper version and actually drop it into the envelope, which is a prepaid envelope, that then our staff will do that data entry. We're encouraging people to do the electronic version because we'll get quicker results back, and then we'll be able to share that with council as we go through the budget process. There's some information on various topics that we've added. So every time we've done the survey, there's been a few additional questions that are pertinent to that time frame. And so there's some, in regards to funding and various really kind of topics that are of consequence right now. In addition, there was also a few questions, I believe one, regarding our tagline and updating that. There's a few suggestions and a few things. So on the marketing side of things as well, there's some information in that survey. So we're partnering with our local print media as well. So we can really have a full out push to say that the survey is out. Last time we were just under 29%. I think it was 28 and change for our response rate. So we had a pretty healthy response rate by the time the survey window was completed. The window right now that we're anticipating is mid-January through the end of February, with then our preliminary results really starting to be tabulated by the month of March, but by the end of March to be able to share with City Council. And if there's no questions on that, the final one, we did get to actually meet Natalie, who's our new public relations specialist. Today's her first day, so I was glad that she was actually able to jump on and introduce herself. We will have in the upcoming week some interns that are also going to be joining us too. So I'll have that information in this Friday's manager's report, as we've got some very qualified interns, and very happy to have those help us out in public works, over in public relations, over in HR, and then our general administration. So excited to have some individuals help us, and they learn quite a bit as well. So those were the topics that I had this evening. Thank you. Oh, looks like the clerk.
Madam Clerk?
Blaine, do you want to make any comment about us being open Wednesdays?
Oh, okay. Yep. So thank you for the reminder. So I did put in this upcoming this last Friday's manager's report, and it will be starting to roll out through our website actually after our meeting tonight. starting this upcoming Wednesday, working with the clerk's office as well as our finance department, we're going to have City Hall, again, is going to continue to be open by appointments. However, on Wednesdays from 10 o'clock until 2 p.m., we will be open to the public. We have, again, reinforced our safety procedures. So we have the sanitation that's occurring. We have our safety barriers. So there's the plexiglass so that there's the interaction is safe. And we also have our air purifiers. And so overall, there have been some challenges with, and Leanne, maybe you want to talk about the animal licenses and actually the little metal tags going through the U.S. Postal Service machines, and maybe you want to just share maybe a moment on.
Yeah, since the beginning of January, us in the front office have noticed more foot traffic. In fact, we go out the front doors and there's almost always someone there knocking. The pet license become a challenge because we send out 1,300 notices, so that's a lot of appointments to specially make. So it was you also have the parking tickets that are being issued now that need to be paid, even those can be dropped off in the drop box. And also we have the parking lot permits. So we're starting to get a lot of foot traffic, a lot of requests for appointments. So Marcy and Anthony and I felt that maybe having a limited amount hours open would be easier than the phone calls, the appointments, trying to keep up with all of that. So we're hoping that we can guide those people towards 10 to 2 on Wednesdays.
And this was part of an overall thought process of not just being open all 5 days. We're trying to be safe. This is a strategic move so that the Wednesdays right in the middle of the week, if we have a larger demand, potentially we could do a Monday and a Wednesday and potentially later do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're trying to keep our numbers, but there is a strategic process that we've evaluated to limit both our employees' exposure as well as the public exposure, and make sure all of our cleaning procedures, still on the staff side, we're still continuing daily to do the temperature and the questionnaires and all of those, as well as the cleaning regimen that we've set in place and that has been continuously updated. So we feel that instead of, quite honestly, having staff members come to the door and really not have a scheduled appointment, if somebody's just knocking or catching somebody when they're coming back from their lunch break, that having a dedicated window of time on Wednesdays should really hopefully capture that group of really resident.
Very good. Councilmember Peterson.
Oh, yes, and I thank you for that as well, for at least one day. And if you can, because in the real estate world, all those property transfer forms and that need to be turned in timely, and it's been really hard getting to any community to do that. So that's awesome that you're at least reaching out to do that to help take care of some of the business matters that take place, because that is important to those that might have an issue if those don't get recorded timely. So thank you.
Yep. Another good one. Thank you.
Any further miscellaneous, City Clerk O'Connor?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Attorney Jeff, are you there? Yeah, welcome.
Hello. I have nothing further at this time.
Okay, and I will see you in the closed session, I think.
Yep.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia.
Yes, just 2 quick things. City Manager, now that we're into the new calendar year, what are the next steps for the budget? Like, I feel like I don't know when the next date is, what the next event is we should be thinking about.
Sure. So the Budget and Finance Subcommittee actually just updated this last Friday their calendar and schedule. So I will have really a report from them explaining as, kind of each of the next steps. We're gathering some information on the staff side with our recommendations during the January to early February window. We'll be getting into goals and objectives, and then we'll also be getting our preliminary results from the community survey. And so the calendar actually spells out the various meetings that council would be part of. And again, it was just updated, so I don't have now the new dates all jumbled in my head, but I will make sure to share that report, and we'll have the full page attachment that shows what we've already accomplished this year, really the end of last year, this, when I'm saying year, our cycle for our budget, what was already been done, as well as the next steps, so that everybody can have that in their calendars.
Okay, great, thanks. And then just a happy story. We need lots of happy stories, right? Lots of happy things. We don't often hear positive news about our service providers like the garbage pickup, Green for Life, but one of my neighbors recently forgot to put their trash out. They got 2 young kids, so think stinky diapers. And they called Green for Life, and they actually circled back around and came and picked up their trash. So I thought that was great customer service for a trash pickup. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Councilmember Harrison.
Nothing from me tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a clarification on Mayor Pro Tem Salvia's comment about the budget calendar and process. Previously, the calendar we had indicated a pre-meeting prior to the January 25th council meeting for review as one of the steps. Has that changed now?
It has. So the pre-meeting, I don't know if Mark or Dean or Amanda remember the date, but it's into February. It is not in January. And sorry, I don't have that right in front of me, but it will be shared with the actual calendar that the committee is recommending. I actually haven't even had a chance to talk with the mayor with their recommendations and the change to the calendar yet.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further, sir. Thank you.
Councilmember Bavacqua.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson.
I just want to wish everybody a happy new year, and glad that we have a couple more months until the spring is here.
Thank you. Councilmember Albrecht.
Your Honor.
Assistant City Manager Banda, welcome.
Welcome. All set, go Buckeyes.
You're not going to hear that from me. Sorry, Mr.
I know that. I just thought of Mike Clayman doing the dance for Alabama. I just can't handle that.
Yeah, I've been hearing from Mr. Kleeman about that. I just want to say that I think 2021 is going to be a much better year, and I just urge everybody to stay safe. The vaccine, I know there's issues with it, but hopefully it will get here soon, and hopefully we will all get there. But I want everybody to stay safe as much as possible until then. So, be aware, and let's all try to be leaders on that front. And now I know now we need a motion to go into closed session with, I think, the thought of
Returning
back into public session. Is that correct, Mr. Manager?
Yep, that's my hope, that through council can deliberate in closed and have a discussion and then come out back to open.
I'll make that motion, Mayor, to move into closed session with the intent to return.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Peterson.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Sage. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dixon,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Thank you. And so remember, when you log off, to log into the new code for the closed session. So we'll see.
Did we get a new code?
Yeah, there's an email that you should have that should spell out really the instructions for each one. Give me a minute, because I actually have to log out of the city manager account into the HR accounts and then open the meeting, but just give me a moment to do that.
We'll see everybody on the other side. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so we're back out of closed session into open session. So council, Councilmember Albrecht, you have a motion.
make a motion to accept the evaluation, 2020 evaluation for city manager Wing. And based on 360-degree feedback from city council members and our discussion, recommend an increase. Can I say the amount?
Yes. Yeah.
A 2.5% increase based on his average score, consistent with what we did with the city clerk and the finance director.
Or
Motion by Councilmember Albrecht, support by Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. Is there further discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dixon,
Yes.
Salvia,
yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Bavacqua,
No.
Harrison,
Yes.
Peterson,
No.
Sage,
Yes.
5-2, Your Honor.
Motion carries. So thank you. Any further comments before we adjourn? I just want to say thank you to everybody tonight. Stay safe, and we will see you at the next meeting. So thank you, everybody.
Good evening.
Good night.
Right.
Thank-